Hmm.
Hi, Ree. How are you?
Hi,
Nice weather.
I'm very good. I'm
It's
very good.
nice.
Thank
It's
you.
lovely weather. But we just felt that we needed to come on during our bank holiday and talk about something we're really passionate about, and that is women's recovery. Um, as everyone knows, that's the forefront of our minds, and that's all we care about. We don't we live, sleep,
Yeah.
and eat women only wellness and recovery from addiction and abuse. And I just want to talk about the last couple of days. So I was invited
Yeah.
out of the blue by the Daily Mail to by a journalist called Sibylla Hart to do an article on women, middle class women specifically, because it's aimed at the middle class of the paper, and about mothers who use cocaine on school runs. So it's mothers who use cocaine. Now, ironically enough, I'd just
Really
done a
specific, isn't it?
very specific, but ironically enough, I had just done a podcast about women, um, women who use drugs, and how society seems to be a lot harder on women who use drugs than men. But the fact is that we're everywhere. Women use drugs. Alcohol is one of the worst drugs, and it statistically kills more people, and people forget that as well. But I'm not going to kind of go into that bit. I'm just going to talk about the article. Um, so I went down to London. They put me up in a lovely hotel. Just previous to me going down though, I need to say that I wasn't naive, and I wasn't unaware of the risks that talking to a newspaper how vulnerable I would make myself talking to a newspaper. But let's be fair, I've made myself vulnerable ever since I've been in recovery. There's no, there's nothing unturned. There's nothing that I haven't spoken about, truth wise. But I didn't. So that wasn't what I was concerned about. What I was concerned about is if they would make me into a bad person when I'm supposed to be supporting, and I'm for women getting recovery, 100 million percent.
Yeah.
Anyway, after speaking to quite a few people, and I knew it was still going to be a risk, but I went down and went, you know what? No news is good news, and I have to turn this around. I mean, bad news is it's in there. It's creating awareness for women in recovery and addiction, and so the article's out today. It's in the Daily Mail, and it's a spread. I don't know if you can see it, called Health, Wealth, and Holidays. So it's not the actual magazine; it's the paper spread in the middle. Previous to this, on the night that I did my interview, I couldn't sleep, worrying. I went time and time again. I went over with the journalist about, is this going to be okay? Can you tell me what you've said? What is going to be written? Because this is so close to my heart, and I cannot have this going any other way but supportive. Um, so I did that, and then she reissued me, but obviously it needs to go through the editor of the newspaper as well. I had no control over that. I just did the best that I could. Um,
Yeah.
so last night, so the article's out today. So last night, um, I knew I could go online and have a look before the paper came out. You need to subscribe. I think it's 99p to have a look at the whole article. But then I didn't do that because I was really tired of being out, and I did it this morning. And the first thing I saw was wasn't this at the beginning here, but I don't know whether you saw what the hook was, really, because it's not a hook on here, but it wasn't very nice. I think Ree's gonna have a look now.
I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah, I can't remember what that hook was because I was trying to forget what that was. Because while you're looking for it, I'll just say, like, I was absolutely like, oh my God, my heart was like, they've turned it all around. It's going to be horrendous because I was already fearing this anyway. Um, have you found it?
Can I just read? Can I just read what the title is
Yeah, please.
of the article? The title of the article is "The Middle Class Mums Snorting Cocaine," capital letters for cocaine, before the school run. Marissa and Selena have enviable lives, but take the drug because it's better than wine. Now they tell us how they get away with it and why so many are like them.
That was it. And I was
So now
like,
they
what?
tell us how they get
Get
away
away
with
with
it.
it. That's what absolutely, and it was like better than red wine. So none of this is what I had said, and obviously the get away with it made me feel like, oh, no way. So then I went on to read all the comments, and the comments were vile, vile. I don't know whether you saw them, Marie.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. One of the first things I did was actually look at the comments.
Yeah, and the comments were
Yeah.
vile.
Uh,
I am used to this, unfortunately. Um, and what that has just made me realize, even though I already know this, is the stigma and the abuse and the hatred for women who are supposed to be carers who take drugs is phenomenal. And this is what keeps us silent because even I was, when I saw that, even I was like, oh my God, I am such a bad, bad person, coupled with the guilt that I've worked a lot on my guilt, but it still came back. It was like, how could I do this as a mother? Wow, what a bad person I am. And it took me a while to just sit with those feelings to say, hang on a minute, what is going on now? If I'm feeling like this 17 years in recovery and all the hard work I've done, okay, what is somebody who's still using drugs going to think if they see that? They ain't going to come forward. And with those comments, society also does not realize that they're actually pushing. If the aim is to look after the child and make sure the child is safe, they're creating more problems and they're making the child more unsafe. What we need is there's no empathy, there was no care, there was just judgment.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. A complete what I took from it was a complete understanding of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And also the push was on the very headline made it negative. It
Yeah.
wasn't about support. So from the off, it's not about this is an issue. How do we help reduce this, reduce the risk,
Mm-hmm.
increase the safeguarding, address the issue. But when you see, and I guess a lot of people read the headline, take the negative, and then the cascade of comments afterwards, it was all like there was no empathy in there
None.
at all. And I think completely missing the point,
Mm-hmm. But
completely,
but
completely making it so that, sorry, go ahead.
the reason for that, as we know, is to sell papers on their side. It's not to help us. However, I always look at the positive and I'm like, okay then. So let's turn this round. And we spoke about it, didn't we, Ree? And you said the same. Let's have a talk. Let's have an interview. Let's talk about this because let's hope that people are actually going to be hooked by this. They're actually going to click on that, pay the subscription, or buy the newspaper and actually read some really solid evidence and some stuff, not just from me, from a couple of ladies who I work with, who's been working with me over the years, who have done absolutely amazing, and also doctors, um, and their opinion. And it's actually quite positive. But Ree, you've
Yeah.
pointed out, which is your bag, other things, didn't you, about, do you want to say, or shall I just prompt you on this?
But go ahead.
About where has so there's always pain, there's always something behind the reason why we take substances because it's to ease that pain, it's to numb it, to disassociate. And we disassociate in different ways. So it could be food, it could be pornography, it could be when I say food, I mean like processed food and high sugar and something just to
Yeah.
disassociate. And we can do this with anything, right? But I'm specifically talking about drink and drugs, and it's very, very harmful if it becomes a problem. Um, and what we did notice is I started using when I was introduced to it by a wealthy man, but I was also a single parent on benefits because not by choice, by circumstance. And I was doing the best I could.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to drugs and it did help me cope. So I thought, okay.
Yeah.
And I hear this time and time again. And all the other women who I've been speaking to, and I'm not saying everybody, but who I've been speaking to recently, who wanted to put they say in the article, they were also single parents who one was working, one wasn't. Um, but again, we were doing the best we can. We were trying to cope in a situation, and it was us who had to take the children to school. But we were also coping. But we were left by a man. It was the circumstance, and we were
Yeah,
coerced into it because I couldn't afford cocaine.
yeah,
No way.
yeah. There's a few things to unpick there.
Right.
The absent parent, first of all, that so that reduces your choices and that reduces opportunities to do the things that you would otherwise do. Now, I'm not saying that staying with that parent would be a good thing because, most of the time it's not. And there's a reason why that relationship is finished.
Yeah.
But also the gender issue, like, why has this become a story about gender? Why is it specifically targeting middle class? And I don't even know what the definition of middle class is. And I
Neither do
think on
I.
one end of the country that might be a different thing.
Yeah.
So middle class mothers, why has that, because anybody taking their kid to school when they've been taking cocaine is not a good idea.
No.
Um, Anybody, it doesn't matter who you are. So they've made it a gendered issue, which again, while they're saying, well, we're raising awareness about this, but are you not just putting an egg on the women and the mums who have to do every single school run, who have to do every packed lunch, who have to do everything? And then why is it not about people who take cocaine before the school run, people who take
Or
cocaine?
or
Mm,
the night before they could have been taking cocaine at a dinner party with their husband, and the husband has gone to work. It's
yeah.
just goes.
And
It's just yeah.
and I reckon that there are far more people who get in the car after they've been out the night before drinking alcohol drinks, who are still over the limit, than there are people taking cocaine.
Yeah.
Because in this culture, this is a bank holiday weekend, we're having this
Wow.
conversation.
Can you imagine?
And what do we see? There are festival, like drinking is acceptable, it's okay in our culture, but I bet there are 100 times more people get in the car the next morning and are still over the limit than
Yes.
have taken cocaine.
Yes.
But the
Oh, I
article's
would.
about middle class mums who take cocaine.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in why it focuses on middle class mums and not middle class parents
Hmm.
or even parents. I don't know the answer to that because I didn't have that conversation with her, but I think drinking the night before is far more prevalent than snorting something up your nose.
Do you not think it's again about selling papers? It's because of this hate campaign. It's like gives the
I
trolls
think
something to talk about, doesn't it?
it does, yeah, yeah. And if it had been something a bit more positive in terms of, how can we support people who
Yeah.
feel the need? Because there's a bit in the article where one of the women said, after you've had 2 bottles of wine, cocaine sobers you up.
It
I was
does.
kind of like, wow, 2 bottles of wine and then cocaine. That's
Mm.
a lot.
Mm.
That's a lot. And if it does sober you up, but then, I mean, how does that make you function as a person?
Well, also it
Are
produces
you,
a
are
th
you it produces another problem, which we'll talk about in a minute. But how does that help you as a person after 2 bottles of wine? Because then if you're taking your kid to school, you're over the limit and you've got cocaine on. No, no. But again, why is it a gendered issue? Let's talk about the medical side of that, Annalise,
Mm.
please. If you talk about the combination of the drink and the cocaine.
Yeah, so there's lots of health issues, isn't there, to taking drinking that much alcohol. I mean, what's the legal? Oh my God, it's what is it per 1 unit a night or something? Is it about that big for a glass of wine and a shot? I mean, wow.
Yeah,
I mean, I know 10 people who don't drink that per night. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And if it's not per
yeah,
night, it's binge drinking, binging, going out on a
yeah,
Friday night. Like last night, I was out with my dad and I just had a couple of I don't drink, and I was a couple of sodas, and people were just, and can you imagine? And then whatever else, um, And it's not just about taking kids to school. Parents will be going home and having, even if the children been out the night before, will be getting their children dropped off the next day. So they ain't going to be there for them, are they? But anyway, that's judgy. But that's fact. That's all I'm saying. And it's parents, like you said. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's called. So if you drink alcohol and so it's alcohol and a drug, it's polydrug use, and you create a third substance in your liver called coethylene, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's more toxic than one or the other. It increases the risks of like strokes and heart attacks. And I think that was what it was sold to me as, is like, oh, come across as a woman's health article to, because I didn't know what I was doing to my body when I was drinking and taking drugs until afterwards in recovery. I was like,
Yeah.
my God, was that what I was doing to my body? I was producing that third drug. I had no idea, you know? And I
Yeah.
think I just really want to warn women who are
Well,
doing that.
the the people in Tesco's who are selling you wine and the people who are selling you drugs that are illegal substances,
Yeah.
they're not going to tell you that it's going to cause you a health problem. Like they put like a little thing on saying drink responsibly.
Tiny.
And I assume that on a packet of cocaine it doesn't have any labeling whatsoever, does it? Made in the UK, maybe not.
No,
It doesn't have anything like that to tell you that you're then going on and putting that in your body and like the long-term damage that that does. Like nobody realizes that. But the fact of the matter is you've been 17 years sober
hmm
and you haven't taken drugs for that amount of time. And I think what they wanted to do was use you as like this is your story, which is fine.
hmm
And you know but what is the benefit that anybody listening to this? What is the message that we want to give to them? Because that article to me, not because of the article in itself, but because of the comments underneath it. If you're somebody who's looking for some kind of empathy and some kind of support to get off any
So,
substances,
hmm
you know that you're going to hit judgy face, aren't you?
Sorry,
And
that was
everybody
funny.
says so. What I would say to anybody who's listening is like, well, yeah, um, Track UK, women only wellness. This is what we do, and you don't get the judgy face. We're not going to point at you and say, well, you shouldn't be taking your kids.
No,
You're not safe and safeguarding your children, because by actually asking for support, you are beginning the path of supporting and
of course.
safeguarding your children, aren't you? It's not that anybody who takes drugs doesn't know that it's not a good idea. Of course, it's not a good idea. We know that. It's what's behind the making the
The
choice to
pain,
take the drugs.
the
And
situation.
the boyfriend thing obviously smacked me in the face. Like, where's the red flag? Your boyfriend comes along and he's lovely, isn't he? And he goes, I just had this big cocaine. And you go, what? Fuck off. Leave.
I wish it
That's
was
a
as
big
simple
red
as
flag
that.
because that's just sucking you in because you're vulnerable. You're a single parent. You need a bit of support. You need a bit of adult company because I don't know about anybody watching, but when you're at home with three kids and you're on your own, the kids go to bed and then you're sitting there by yourself and you just think, what am I going to do? Oh yeah, I'll drink some wine and I'll eat. In my case, it was
Of
I'll eat
course.
cheese and crisps until I weigh a half a ton.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what do you do? Because you've got, so give, what I'm saying is give people some empathy when they come and they ask for help. None
Yeah.
of the crap that's gone on underneath that article about
No.
these people need to get a life and these women need to get jobs and blah, 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 blah. But judgy face, please leave.
Yeah. I mean, this is why track was formed, because of this judgment, and systematic judgment as well. I'm sorry to say. So,
Yeah,
but still, go for
absolutely.
help. I mean, we can work with that, but um, it's the rehab thing as well. And I just want to say, because I actually come from a middle class area, middle class, whatever that is, but what I'm saying is, I heard a
Well,
lot through my,
you're saying as you're posh.
yeah. So
You're posh
a lot of
journalist,
people,
aren't you? You're posh. You
I'm
come
posh,
from
but
the
I've got
posh end of town.
posh end of town, but I've got a working class dad. So I was always, so my gut is for the people. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, that's all political stuff. But what
Yeah,
I was going to say about that is that when it's talking about middle class mums, when I've spoken to somebody about that during my recovery, you get a lot of stigma for being a middle class mum, a middle class woman on drugs, because they say you can afford rehab, you can get out of it. But that's not true either, because by the time, if you are asking for help and you are really, really low, you ain't got no money left. It's all been taken off you, or you're divorced, so you've got,
Yeah,
you're just surviving. Just because you're middle class does not mean you've got loads of money to go to rehab. And anyway, I don't always
that's
believe in
true.
rehab, and that's why we have recovery in the community, especially that works for women.
Yeah,
So yeah, no
yeah,
judgment here, just
absolutely.
complete support, and you don't have to disclose anything you don't want to disclose. You're welcome to come and go as you please, and the gathering is just such a safe space really
Yeah,
to connect, isn't it? And
absolutely.
find
Yeah. And I
people.
think you were very brave. I think you were very brave to do that article. I thought it would go completely pear-shaped, and it hasn't. I don't trust the, the tabloid press because of my background and the job that I did before this. But I think you putting yourself in that article, you having your picture in that article, and I think what we need to take from that is you provide a fantastic service. I know that the women who come through Track UK for their recovery and their support are all successful
They
after
are,
the fact.
they are, they're amazing.
They've all maintained
Maintain,
their recovery,
yes, and they're in employment,
and that's everything. And in employment, and some of those women come to our WOW gathering, and some
yes,
of those women come as business women,
yes, yes,
and that to me is an amazing achievement, considering the stories that they tell about how they've come through their recovery and how they got into addiction in the first place.
yeah,
So,
and
when you're a person who's looking from the outside in, and you will come to this event, and you will never in a million years be able to go, well, she used to be a druggie, and she used to be on heroin, and she used to do this. You will not be able
hence
to say
hence
that.
why the picture as well, it's
So
to say this woman was addicted and she's now, you wouldn't believe it. And if that woman here who's now giving hope to other women that you can get out of it, if she'd seen those comments, what was put on there, I honestly don't think I would
yeah,
ever be even alive today. It's as serious as that.
yeah,
And me and my son have
yeah,
such a beautiful relationship today, and he needs his mum, and he's got his mum.
yeah. Fantastic. Annalise, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ree.
Brilliant.